For years I've heard both sides of, oh, residential sucks, commercial's where it's at. Oh, you got to do refrigeration. You got to do industrial. Chiller techs are the top, tier. All this, And the truth is, there's no one size fits all for this stuff. There really isn't. It's really what works for you in your area and for you and what you want to do in your lifestyle. I started out, I worked, when I first worked for my first company, we did residential, we did light commercial, light refrigeration, restaurants, reach-ins, walk-ins, a little bit of industrial refrigeration. When I kind of started easing into doing my own business, I had a lot of restaurant accounts, did a lot of reach-in refrigerations, walk-ins, things like that. That was ice machines. That was the majority what I did. Here's the thing. I hated it. I actually enjoyed the work. I enjoyed working on refrigerators. I actually did. But everything else, I hated it. I didn't like going in the restaurants at midnight, working on the equipment, rolling around in kitchen grease constantly. The emergencies, like when they went down, it was like panic city, rightly so. So sometimes I wasn't always able to get there when they needed, and I don't know. And then I realized, like, wait a minute, there's guys that are way less experienced than me throwing in mini splits and just doing regular residential AC, making way more money than I am being a skilled refrigeration tech. So I even though it's in theory it's a much more skilled aspect of the trade, and it is most circumstances more well respected. If you say, hey, I'm a refrigeration tech or a supermarket tech, I mean, that's definitely a higher tier than the average residential AC heating and air tech. So, but it's weird, I just kind of got into the residential side, and I realized, like, you know what, I can talk to people, they trust me, I don't oversell, I don't undersell, I found a way to connect with people, and it started working for me. And then the less and less refrigeration I started doing, because the refrigeration became a pain in my butt, and I didn't want to do it. It wasn't as easy. The timing was weird. The emergency calls were more intense, and I'm like, this is just not my game, and I don't really want to make money this way. Now, are there companies in my area that do make money that way? Absolutely. If you set your business up right, you can kill it doing that stuff. But I didn't want the emergency calls. I didn't want to roll around in kitchen grease at midnight anymore. I didn't want to work the crazy long hours. And I realized, like, this is not what I want, and so I leaned into residential and light commercial, and that's kind of been our happy place now for many years, and we've been successful doing it. So all this talk about, oh, you'll never make any money in residential, you just got to sell. I think every area is different. Who knows? In some areas, I can't speak on behalf of all parts of the country. What I can say is this: there's a lot of successful guys that are doing residential and maybe light commercial like we do. There's money to be made in it. I think you just have to find your niche and get really good at it. So I don't like these blanket statements of, oh, residential sucks, oh, commercial's where it's at. I've been burned more by commercial than residential, personally. We've lost more money by people not paying and basically changing owners' names and being shady, doing commercial, especially restaurants, doing commercial than residential. So I don't, that argument doesn't hold any weight with me. So anyway, just something to think about.